If you're Prince Harry, the world is now focusing on the fact that, well, you're coming back to London because you've announced it to the world.
One
Yes,
image, a wide-brimmed hat tipping into frame, a smile that says everything and nothing, flashbulbs blinking like fireflies, and a question that has the internet buzzing again. Is this elegance or theater? Let's talk about hats. Not fabric, not feathers, symbols. In the royal world, a hat is never just a hat. It's timing, it's temperature, it's a headline written before a word is spoken. Some women wear a crown once or twice in their lifetime. Royal women wear messages on their heads every time they step outside. And when Meghan steps out, the message lands with a thud you can feel through the floorboards. Because for her, the hat is a drum. Boom! Look here. Boom! Hear this. Boom! You will not ignore me. Now, if you're part of our celeb-core family, you remember how this goes. The cycle is always the same. A carefully staged appearance. A talking point accessory. A caption that reads like a wink. Then, here we go. Floodgates open. Praise, outrage, think pieces, side-by-side comparisons, and 100 voices debating whether she's redefining tradition or simply selling it back to us with a new tag. But let's slow down and read the room the way an older, wiser audience does. Because our viewers, yes, you, have watched decades of royal optics. You know how a hat can be duty or diversion, how it can say, I belong, or I dare, how it can soothe the public, or prod it. For Meghan, the hat is a stage light and a shield. It frames the face, but it also frames the story. If she wants to project classic, she reaches for clean lines, quiet colors, that Sunday best silhouette. If she wants to project buzz, the brim widens, the angle sharpens, the photographs get louder. Is that manipulation or just savvy? Depends on whether you're applauding or exhausted. Here's the uncomfortable truth the comment wars rarely admit. She's good at this. Very good. The cuts are cinematic. The styling is deliberate. The rhythm, appearance, reaction, response, plays like a hook you can't get out of your head. She understands the modern monarchy of attention. There are no balcony waves anymore. There are posts. There are no court circulars. You've got captions. And a hat, placed just so, becomes the push notification that gets everyone to stop scrolling. But here's where the stitching pulls. In the old world, hats were etiquette, respect, a nod to church, to ceremony, to the idea that the person is smaller than the moment. In Meghan's world, the California sunset, lifestyle brand world, a hat can be a brand asset. It cues a mood board. It points you to a storefront. It says, this is the feeling you can buy. That's not a crime. It's the culture we live in. Still, for those who remember the steady grace of duty first, it feels off, like applauding at the wrong measure in a hymn. And then there's the comparison game. You know the one, everyone plays it, even if they claim they don't. Meghan versus Catherine. California gloss versus Windsor starch. One reaches for drama, the other for continuity. One seeks the camera, the other lets the camera find her. Is that fair? Maybe not. But fairness has never stopped a split screen. Watch how the internet reads a brim. If it's big, they'll say she's hiding. If it's bold, they'll say she's grandstanding. If it's simple, they'll say she's copying. That's the paradox of a polarizing figure. Your choices echo louder than your words. And Meghan has learned to turn that echo into currency. Why does this matter now? Because timing is everything. A well-placed appearance doesn't just dominate a day. It can drown out a narrative you don't want trending. It can reframe a stumble as a stride. It can stitch one week's headlines to next week's product drop. Tell me you haven't seen that pattern before. We all have, but I want to be fair. She also knows how to remind people of the role she once had, the door she walked through, the life she chose to leave. A hat in the classic British shape is like a postcard home. Wish you were here, miss you, but I'm fine. Nostalgia sells because it softens. It says, I'm not attacking your tradition, I'm borrowing it for a moment. The trouble comes when borrowing starts to look like licensing. Here's where our audience's wisdom cuts through the noise. You've paid mortgages and buried parents and raised kids. You know the difference between a gesture and a foundation. When Catherine wears a hat to a military event, it's protocol, and the lines are straight. When Meghan wears a hat to make a point, the lines blur. Fashion, memoir, marketing, all in one pose. Nothing illegal about that, but not neutral either. Let's talk legacy. Diana's hats spoke softly, even when the world shouted. They were playful at 20, protective at 30, purposeful by the end. You could feel the growth. You could feel the gravity. With Meghan, the growth is different. It's not soft to hard. It's spotlight to spotlight. She handles fame the way a producer handles a live show. You don't fight the feedback, you ride it. And a hat is a perfect knob on the soundboard. Does that make her a villain? No. It makes her a professional in a time when attention is the most expensive material on earth. But professionals also choose when to turn the volume down. And that's the choice many are watching for. Will she let the silence speak? Or will the brim keep getting wider? Here's the pulse that matters. Trust. Eventually, audiences stop arguing about taste and start asking about truth. Do the gestures match the life? Do the captions match the commitments? Do the staged photos match the backstage choices? When trust falters, every accessory looks like armor. Every hat looks like a helmet. And helmets tell you one thing: someone's going to war with perception. Mid-roll moment. If you appreciate calm analysis over chaos, tap subscribe and keep this community growing. We don't do rage. We do receipts, memory, and context. Back to it. There's another reason the hat discourse won't die. Class. Hats are old-world signals in a new-world economy. They whisper of pews and processions, of naming days and summer garden parties. For many in Britain, they're ordinary. Special, yes, but familiar. For many in America, they read as costume. Meghan knows both languages. She can translate tradition into trend with a tilt of the head. Some find that brilliant. Others find it brazen. Both can be true. So what should we, the grown-ups in the room, do with all this? First, stop pretending clothes are trivial. In public life, clothes are paragraphs. Second, remember that performance isn't always fraud. Sometimes it's just punctuation. Third, insist on scale. A hat is a hat. It can't fix a mission. It can't erase a misstep. It can only buy a day of oxygen and a new round of photos. If you're watching with a cup of tea, you might be thinking, I miss quiet. I hear you. Quiet used to arrive on a balcony at 5 past the hour in a palette of navy and pearl. It meant steadiness. Now, quiet is harder to find. There's always a teaser, a trailer, a drop. That's why the reactions feel so sharp. People aren't just reading a hat. They're mourning the vanishing of understatement. So here's my read, and you can tell me yours down below. Meghan's hat game is not an accident. It's a strategy, sometimes elegant, sometimes exhausting, always intentional. It buys her control in moments she can't fully command. It blurs lines between homage and hustle. And because the world has already decided who she is, every brim becomes a referendum. If you like her, it's style. If you don't, it's stunt. The truth lives in the middle. It's skill. And skill comes with responsibility. Because when you're that good at bending light, you owe the audience a little honesty. Not a confession, just clarity. Say what the moment is. Is it charity? Is it business? Is it a family day? The hat can stay. The fog can go. As for the rest of us, we don't have to take the bait every time. We can note the pose, smile at the craft, and save our real attention for the things that last. How people show up for causes when the cameras are gone, how they treat staff when the doors are closed, how they use their platforms when there's nothing to sell. Final beat. Picture a quiet hallway, a mirror, a hat stand. Anyone can choose drama. Anyone can choose dignity. The hardest choice is choosing when not to choose the spotlight. That's the line we're watching. That's the story underneath the hat. If you felt seen by this, if you want less noise and more nuance, stay with us. We'll keep reading the signals, separating spectacle from substance, and giving you the royal stories that make sense of the week without shouting about it. And if the brim swings back into frame tomorrow, we'll be here. Calm voices, clear eyes, no theatrics, just the truth as best as we can tell it, one careful look at a time.